everyone. Thank you, Father, for the day. And I want to thank you, you marvelous audience, for being here. And we're in for a treat. We're here today with the wonderful Nick Byrd. He is with CAM Construction. And I had the pleasure of co founding CAM Construction. It's hard to believe, but right about 25 years ago with everybody's MVP, Jeff Patrizi. And now um, my role has shifted because our team is so incredible. And I will say that I had the pleasure of meeting Nick about, has it been a year and a half? And then
It's
over,
it's it's been about a year and a half, yes.
wow. And so we're just going to visit with him
Mhm.
about construction and just learn a little bit more about Nick, which I'm looking so forward to myself,
Mhm.
I must say. So wherever you are, if you're driving, please be careful and just enjoy. And if you are watching and you're sitting someplace and you have questions you'd like for us to ask Nick the next time we visit with him, or notes or comments, like you always do, shoot them over, text me, email, what do they call it? Direct message, any of the things. So welcome here today. And Nick, thank you so much for being here and taking the time out of your busy day to have this conversation.
Oh, absolutely. I've been looking forward to this talk, and I'm ready to get started. Thanks for
Oh,
taking time out your busy schedule as well.
oh, it's I love it so much.
Mhm.
So, Nick, tell us this. Okay, first of all, you started with CAM Construction right about a year ago.
Yes.
We met about approximately 18 months ago and
Yes.
all the wonderful conversations like you do.
Mhm.
And tell the audience what you did prior to becoming one of the project managers at CAM Construction. Tell us why construction? When did this happen? Give us a little background.
Wow, and that's a really good question. So construction's always been one of my favorite things to do. Back in grade school, I was one of those kids that would just take things apart, put it back together just to pass time. And I've always been a number guy. That was always my favorite subject, math, things like that. So it was natural when I was trying to decide a major in undergrad to go into engineering. I knew that was going to be, well, actually, let's back up a little bit. Prior to that, I got my first taste of construction when I was in high school. I did
Mm.
a couple construction jobs back then, and I was probably the youngest guy out there because I was still in high school, but I loved it. You would get there at 8, and 5 o'clock would creep up on you so quick because you're just busy. You're not sitting behind a desk, and I enjoyed that a lot. Just kind of rubbing elbows with the guys. So I knew that when I went into undergrad, I was going to do something construction based, things like that, and it was going to be number based as well. So naturally went into engineering. When I graduated from LSU, go Tigers,
Go Tigers.
I went into residential as opposed to commercial because I really liked it. I went with a couple of home builders and I liked how personal it is. When you're not doing the real big scope jobs, commercial jobs, and you're doing more of a residential side of things, you're really getting in tune with the client. It's their home. It's the biggest thing they'll ever buy. It's their biggest investment as a family. So I really liked, and I thought I could check a couple boxes. One, I could do construction, and two, I consider myself at least a people's person. I could do both of them, and that it really is perfect for me. Now, with that being said, prior to joining CAM, I did residential construction for more of a tract home builder for 10 years.
Mhm.
Right at that 10-year mark, I was looking for a transition. Not even career-wise, but family-wise as well. When you and I first talked, this is so full circle. Our first conversation was online, like we're doing right now. So this is definitely a full circle moment for me and you, I think.
That's right.
My wife was 7 months pregnant at the time, and we were looking to move back home. I am from Houston. I'm Houstonian. My wife is from Lafayette, Louisiana. At the particular time, I was in Fort Worth, which is, about a 4 hour or so drive from my home and 8 hours from her home. And we knew operation number one was to get back close to family. And we were kind of on the time crunch because we decided to do this, and we only had a few months before this baby comes. So with that being said, I we had the baby right before we moved back to Houston. Little Nick, that's my son. He's named after myself. Um, he was even a month old, and we were moving back to Houston. And I think maybe 2 months after that, I joined the CAM team.
Yeah.
Time flies, and it's been an incredible experience. So yes, I always knew construction was going to be my home, but back then I didn't know I could tie building personal relationships with construction like I've done, and I'm pretty happy that I did it.
I'll tell you, and I'll let the audience know. First of all, sometimes you just have a feeling you meet somebody. And
Yes.
when Nick and I first met, it was wonderful because
Mhm.
he is a people person. And I thought, oh, okay, this is a pretty cool addition to the team. He
Mhm.
loves construction, he loves people, he loves it is an intimate relationship,
Mhm.
especially residential. And in the CAM world, I'm gonna say 80% it is very custom, high-end renovation remodeling. And sometimes people stay in the home during the construction.
Sure.
And there is a very fine line. These are people that are inviting, Nick, the team members into their homes, complete trust
Mhm.
with their schedules, with what's going on in their day-to-day lives, with their animals. So often people have animals,
Mhm.
the importance of the relationship. And, I know Nick will agree with me, everything, regardless of career path, our lives are improved or not based upon our relationships.
Sure.
And knowing Nick loves people and he loves relationships, he's a family guy. I wish I could a long time with y'all and I could share some of the cool things that he shares about how he prioritizes, and it's just very cool the way he lives so intentionally. And but this was a big change for you because in the past, people weren't usually in their homes when you were doing the work.
Right. Right.
And you have shared with me, you like that because the relationships are and I want to first do a little shout out. I received a text from one of our, let's just say we have a great team. So because of that, we have incredible customers and we work with them, their extended families, their friends. It's a beautiful relationship based company. And I received this text from a very discerning customer. Nick gets A plus. He's a gem. We really enjoy working with him. The details. So I do want to throw that out to the world because so often, and I'm going to say especially in construction, when you get people taking the time to tell you how much they enjoy working with somebody and that the professionalism and communication and everything is just top level, literally, quote unquote, A plus, that's a big deal. So, audience, we're talking to a top level A plus kind of businessman here. And that's very cool. I just want to throw that out there, Nick, because I
Thank
love
you.
it so much. Um, But this was a shift going from knocking it out, just blueprints. You knew exactly what you were gonna do, not a lot of surprises because you weren't
Mhm.
walls, you were building walls.
Right.
Uh, it takes a special talent to, because we don't have X-ray vision, but to figure out someone's hopes, dreams, vision, and make them come true
For
while
sure.
living in their homes.
Yes.
That a huge transition? Were you surprised by it? How did that feel? Because you just dove in.
No, absolutely. It was definitely a big transition for me because I had to kind of just rewire the way my brain works when it comes to construction because I'm very, about a schedule. It's Plan the work, work to plan. I'm going to start on this day and I'm going to finish on this day. And I pride myself on doing that, you know. But this is more so you got to slow down and really build the plan with the client. And we go to that meeting and we have no idea sometimes what that plan is going to be. But it just takes some real good communication. And again, I think that was my biggest thing I changed about my thought process, which is to slow it down. Because, you know, when you're in new home construction, one of the biggest things your client is going to be, you know, pressed about is, hey, when can I get into my home? You know, and that kind of supersedes everything else. You know, this is a bit more different to where, you know, I think it's a luxury to be able to take your foot off the gas a bit more and really give that client exactly what they're wanting, you know, which I really enjoy it's a really cool thing. And a lot of my meetings now, kind of going back to the client you just mentioned, you know, we have our meetings, but a lot of our conversations aren't about construction. They aren't even about the home. We're just kind of hanging out. And you get to build that relationship. I think that's kind of the key word, relationship, where, you know, we're talking about her family, my family, and just really getting to know each other. It really makes those moments special.
It really does, and I love that you said in this world of construction, you slowed down because over this 25 years, and of course, Jeff has been doing it, I guess, like 49 now. I mean, it's amazing. But what I have seen is that the slowing down in order to speed up.
Yes.
You know, it's take the time, prepare this relationship, what's most important to each client. And have you been surprised? Have you enjoyed it? How unique each job is?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's been a very good surprise because I feel like I get to really put my thinking cap on because things don't just go together sometimes. And with that being said, they did it in my past either. You know, nothing's really that simple when you're working. You know, from the ground up. Nothing just sticks together. But this is a bit more fun to your point earlier, where sometimes you don't know what's behind those walls. And sometimes you can be awfully surprised when you get behind that wall. And that's when we have to slow down, put our thinking cap on, and really do some troubleshooting. And that's what I felt like, you know, all that training and education you did prior to today, that's what it's for, you know. And I think I really get to, you know, use a few more tools on that tool belt. So it's really good.
I love that problem solving.
Yes.
I mean, y'all, I hear it all the time.
Mhm.
You know, it's very creative.
Mhm.
And I love the creativity and the teamwork that's involved.
Sure.
You know, one of my favorite things is when I have the opportunity, and it may be you and a trade, or you and the client, you, Jeff, the trade, the designer, the architect, and it's like, wow, look what we found here.
Absolutely.
The beautiful way teamwork makes the dream work.
Mhm.
How, and then it is what started out as something no one knew about. What first thought is, okay, is this a problem? I love how you all work together and resolve, and things work out even better than they were planned.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And to your point, sometimes that meeting of the minds is just two people, myself and a trade. And we'll think, hey, this is the answer, but we say, hey, let's loop a couple more guys in. You know,
Yeah.
we'll call a Jeff, you know, and see, let me get your thought process on this. And what we may have been a good idea, we finished with a great idea. And
Yeah.
that's really, really rewarding.
I love that so much. You know, let the audience know a lot of and I'm going oh, excuse me, I wiggled my entire camera. But what do you believe, and I think I know the answer that you're going to share, the secret sauce in a wonderful experience for a client and a builder? What's that?
Communication.
Communication.
Without a shadow of a doubt, communication. Let's leave nothing in that weird gray area. Let's make sure we're all on the same page as far as what we're trying to get. Intentions, timeline. No one likes surprises in this realm. I think it's just the best thing to do is over communication is not a bad thing.
No.
And whether that's with the client, the trade, your team members, I much rather over communicate. And sometimes to get that communication out and to get the feedback from what you just communicated, again, you got to slow it down, and that's something that a lot of builders were just not wired to do. But that is by far, if you really want to get a rewarding experience at the end of the project, it's all about communication for sure.
I love that. Is there something to share with those that are listening that are thinking, okay, this is good. Maybe I'm going to move forward with
Mhm.
my remodel. Let's say it's a
Sure.
remodel. Is there a list of questions or is there something that you would suggest for the clients, for the, prospective clients to go through themselves first
Hmm.
before they come to us, to you, to Jeff, to what should they do first before they begin this process?
I would first tell that client to number one, there is no such thing as a bad question. Oh, I would write down what I'm trying to get out of this experience. And I wouldn't even lose a lot of sleep as far as trying to like gather a whole lot of information on how they're going to get to that end goal. I think that's more of our job. I would just really write down what I want that dream to look like with my home and just invite us over and it'll be a very comfortable, casual conversation. And that might be the biggest shocker about it, that how casual that meeting's gonna be, you
Mhm.
know. And it might take a little bit of time for us to get everything on paper, but I can assure that we can achieve what you're trying to get out of that remodel. But again, no bad questions. And I would not worry too much about trying to get that information myself prior to meeting someone of our team. That let us help.
I love that.
Because
It's
it
real.
can be intimidating. It can be very
Yes.
intimidating.
And relax into the process is what you're
Sure,
saying.
absolutely.
Have the conversation with y'all first.
Hmm.
Saying, this is what I'm thinking.
Hmm.
And these are all the things that I'm thinking. And what I do love is I love that our teams are so great about thinking about what the client wants.
Hmm.
It's really, let's just say there are clients that we have that had worked with other very great builders.
Sure.
Where the builder said, this is what I think you ought to do
Hmm.
prior to hearing the client's hopes, wants, needs.
100%.
And so I love this that you're saying, just have a nice, casual conversation, note
Yeah.
taking. Let us, or if you're, I mean, we serve in, I don't know, the Hill Country and Galveston and Houston and the surrounding areas. A lot of places. However, if you're not in a place that we serve, invite the builder over
Absolutely.
and just have a conversation about ideas that you have. Is that
Hmm.
correct?
That is 100% correct.
Okay, what do you think about this? Because what I feel like is that also don't try to rush it.
Oh yes, for sure. For sure. Don't try to rush it. And I know we get together on a lot of meetings and we were kind of pressed to feel like that we have to leave this meeting with an answer.
Yeah.
But that's not true. I think sometimes things can just, be to be continued. And maybe that next meeting or the follow-up meeting or over the phone will finally put the pieces of the puzzle together. But I don't think things should be so wound up as tightly as needing an immediate answer or an immediate selection. I think just slowing it down, which again, That's been one of my best surprises since joining CAM is being having the luxury to do that because you won't find too many builders out there who behave that way. Everything's about the end goal and getting to the end goal as quick as possible. And for that client who, a lot of these clients, this is their forever home. They're not moving again, It's going to be their kids' home. We got to make sure we get it right. And I think we can put a timeline kind of on the back burner a little bit to make sure we're getting what we really, really, really want.
That's wonderful. I love this. So I'm going to highlight right here is number one, slow down, casual conversations. What would be the dream for the client?
Mhm.
Different ways to achieve that. And there are times that, and I know this comes up because I've been that kind of client, and that is there's a big date coming up in a
Right,
family.
right.
They're like, oh my gosh, we got to remodel our house
Hmm.
before the big date.
Right.
And so all the things. How do you and the team manage hard deadlines? Let's say there's going to be a wedding in a home. Let's say someone is coming home from a health incident and
Sure.
there are those times that there's not a luxury to slow down.
Hmm.
So what would you share with that group?
Absolutely. So when we have those first meetings, I think it's really, really important to get that information out of the client.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's a wedding or hey, you're gonna host Thanksgiving this year and it's a really big deal. But once you give me those key dates, that's definitely my job to be that friendly reminder, that hey, we can take our time to make another selection or make a change, but this will affect our timeline in this capacity. So I have to be that gentle reminder of, hey, this will affect this in such manner. But that's definitely my job once I get those key dates from you. I don't think that's up to you to remind me about that wedding coming. I think you have enough on your plate thinking about that wedding.
So I love that. I love that what you're saying is in a perfect world, which it's
Mhm.
not. But
Of-
if you do have the luxury of time, there's the slowing down. However, if it's entered your mind right this minute,
right.
you want to remodel your home before goodness knows, and I've got stuff going on at my house right now. But
Mhm.
if there's a deadline, start the conversation.
Right, right.
Get
Because
going, get that out, let
right.
CAM project manager, sit down
Mhm.
and say, okay, in order for this to happen, you first have your first meeting,
Mhm.
allow them to digest the information,
Mhm.
figure out what has to happen first in order to hit that date,
Right.
and embrace the reminders.
Absolutely.
Got to get
Absolutely.
that selection.
Mhm.
You make that selection. Is it in stock? You
Mhm.
know, when is it coming? Because it is oftentimes in construction, it's a domino effect,
Yeah.
correct?
Oh, 100%. Stages of construction go a certain way. And it's up to me. Like, I wouldn't expect the client to know how long it takes to fabricate a window.
Right.
Those kind of things. So those are the things where when we've made some key decisions. I'm going to build in the perfect world type of schedule. We can go over that schedule, and that's when I can give you key information on hey, how long it takes to make a countertop, or how long I would expect a carpenter to build a set of cabinets. And we can build off of that schedule. Now we know we have a certain amount of time to start thinking about key things. And as we're working through stages of construction, I'm going to remind you, hey, we're coming up on this stage. Let's start thinking about colors. Let's start thinking about hardware. And if we communicate again, big communication, that process can go as swift as possible when it comes to the actual build process. Because I think we should be able to take our time making our decisions as far as selections. But again, my job is to make sure once those selections are made, we're as efficient as possible when it comes to the side of construction.
I love that. I wish we could keep talking all afternoon. However, I'd like to highlight for the audience again, this is about beginning the conversations, allowing the process, go ahead and embrace it.
Mhm.
And the clients are such I think so often they're like, okay, we've hired this team.
Sure.
I believe it's important that they realize how important they are as part of the team.
Hmm.
And so communication, which I'm so proud of the way for y'all that the way you all do communicate. There are meetings on site, there are field notes that are sent, there are construction reports talking about from weather and selections with the general reminders. You are constantly updating by email, text, lists, the whole thing. I mean, I so appreciate how I have observed the way you communicate. And I do think that has a lot to do, you really love it
Oh,
and
sure.
you enjoy people.
Hmm. Oh, absolutely. That part, I don't view it as work. I just because a lot of it, when you build that relationship, we kind of just hanging out again, you know. And I want this project to look as perfect as possible, just as bad as you do. So we kind of have that same interest as mine once we get the ball rolling, you know. So I like the over communication. I just want to make sure you're fully in tune and you know just as much about your project as I do.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I love that. Okay, because we are limited with our time, is there anything, and I do want to give a shout out to your lovely in and out bride and that precious, precious child. I have to tell the audience every now and again, I'll text Nick and say, send me a picture. I need an update. I mean, that baby Nick is fabulous too. Oh,
Thank you.
but I mean, lucky us that y'all were making this move to Houston. And
Sure.
I just, it's very cool to
Mhm.
build this relationship and grow and learn and do all this together. Any last thoughts before for the audience
Mhm.
that you'd like to share before we say so long for now?
Oh wow, yeah. I think everything happens for a reason. I think it was kind of meant to be, and I knew that during our first conversation, and it's all proven to be right. You know, I'm enjoying my time. This conversation has been incredible just now, but it's just an example of my experience with Cam since I've moved back home. It's been incredible.
Ah, okay, I love that. Audience, we're so appreciative. Again, send us questions. We want to make sure that we educate and answer questions on all the levels as far as these construction goes.
Mhm.
And whether you're near us, part of our, reach or beyond, we are so happy to hear from you and we thank you. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Nick.
Thank
Hook
you.
and, have a wonderful afternoon.
You too. Take care. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it was such a pleasure. We'll be doing this again.
I'm looking forward to it.